What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the 2021 Ford Mustang GT Coupe. Huge shout out and thank you to Mooresville Ford. They're providing this GT for today's video. Definitely check out their website, linked down below. And the model that we're looking at today is finished off in iconic silver and has an MSRP at $43,000. Underneath the hood, the Mustang GT utilizes a naturally aspirated 5-liter 8-cylinder engine. This V8 pumps out 460 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. This particular spec, it's paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission. However, a 6-speed manual is still available. All the power is sent to the rear wheels through a limited slip rear differential. And with a curb weight around 3,800 pounds, you can still expect 0 to 60 in low 4 seconds with a top speed at 155 miles per hour and a quarter-mile time at 12.2 seconds. The Mustang GT gets a 16-gallon fuel tank, and you can expect 15 miles per gallon in the city with 24 out on the highway. Overall length comes in at 188.5 inches with a wheelbase at 107.1. Height is 54.3 and width is 75.4 inches. And then moving to the exterior styling now with the Mustang GT. This is a really aggressive car with a ton of sharp angles. I love how we get a set of LED headlights with a blacked out housing. They also feature the LED running light towards the inside on those 3 bars. They light up in white and look super nice. We also get an amber color for the turn signal down below with a halogen bulb, and then an LED towards the center. We have sharp lines all throughout the lower portion of the front bumper, as well as a plastic trim piece for this front splitter. It protrudes outwards a few inches just to add to the aggression, and it definitely comes together very nicely. We get a blacked out Mustang Pony logo right in the center, and then we have more gloss black for the entire grille. Behind the mesh, you can also see active grille shutters to improve efficiency and aerodynamics when needed. And then we have plastic trim in the lower grille with more openings, and all the lines flow together really well to give it a fantastic look. Moving to the hood, you can see how the sharp line cuts into the bumper, and then we get 2 functional heat extraction vents up top with more sharp lines fading away towards the windshield. I love how large the hood is. It really gives this Mustang that classic muscle car appearance. Definitely stands out. Moving to the side profile, you can see a set of 19-inch wheels in all 4 corners, finished off in a gloss black, and they are a 5-spoke design, contrasting really well against the silver paintwork. We also get a blacked out 5.0 badge right on the side, and a really sharp line cutting through the side profile towards the door handle. We get another sharp line in the lower portion of the door with another side piece that matches what you saw on the front splitter. And then on the rear fender arch, you get a really sharp line above it to really emphasize the width of this car. I love the sharp lines all around. We get a set of body color door handles and then more gloss black for the trim on top of these side mirrors. And then the roof is also finished off in the same gloss black to really tie in that theme on this particular spec. You can see how we get that fastback design, which is classic for a Mustang. The side profile is extremely proportional, and all the sharp lines really come together super nicely. Moving to the rear end, we get a gloss black spoiler mounted on the top of the trunk. Really ties in with the theme on this car. Then we also get your GT badge right in the center, finished off in more gloss black. And then the 3-dimensional taillights. By tapping the key, you can see them light up. They are LED, and they have a really cool C shape to them. Definitely classic to see the 3-bar taillights on a Mustang. Then we get your rear diffuser with your reverse light right in the center, some sharp fins on it, and then a dual quad-tipped exhaust. So there's a good look at the exterior with the Mustang GT. This silver really stands out nicely, and I love it against the snowy backdrop we have. We have Ford's key fob with the Mustang logo on one side. If I go ahead and lock it, and then double tap on the engine start-stop button, we get that V8 to roar to life. Definitely sounds awesome for this car. Just pressing the button, it'll automatically shut off. And then one thing really cool to move on to the trunk, we actually have a button right on this back side that I can press. It'll automatically unlock it and get a really good view at it. Pretty good sized trunk in here. As you can see, it's nice and squared off, and you have a lot of space for larger items. Just with my camera bag in it, you can see how well it fills out. Then I can easily grab it and close that. And then keeping the car locked, just going up to the door handle and grabbing it, it automatically unlocks, and we can check out this interior. We get a black interior for this GT with fabric seats. You'll see silver accents and then white stitching. Moving to the door panel now, finished off all in black. We get a nice black vinyl right here with some padding for your armrests, an aluminum color on the grab handle, then your window controls as well as the mirror switches, lock and unlock, and more of that aluminum color on the release handle, and then black fabric with some contrast stitching. There is some storage down below and then 2 speakers within the panel. Then we get Mustang along the door sill, finish off in aluminum color. We have power controls and manual controls for the seats. We get a nice set of bolsters you can see with this contrast stitching and black fabric. I like how you'll see the racing stripes within the fabric design, which is a cool touch. Moving our way up these backrests, you can see more of the design. We have Mustang written out, stitching along the headrest, and then a black leather steering wheel. And then now inside the GT, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. For the gauge cluster, we have an analog tachometer on the left with your engine temperature, and then your speedometer and fuel to the right. We also get a small LCD screen right in the center, and you can control that using the controls on the right side of the steering wheel. So if we go ahead and look in this right now, we have cylinder head temperature, and you can scroll up and down through this to see a lot of the parameters, which is great to see, especially in a performance car like a Mustang GT. If I scroll back now, you can get out of that menu. You can see more things. You have your track apps that'll come up, line lock, brake performance, all sorts of things like that. Then we have driver's assistance for all the safety settings that are in this car. Then we even have settings to control more things. We have the exhaust mode. It has a quiet mode all the way into a track mode, which you just heard. Definitely awesome to have an exhaust like that for a car like this with a V8. Moving to the steering wheel, we get your Mustang logo right in the center, finished off in the aluminum color. Then we have volume controls on the left with your cruise control, and then some more Bluetooth controls over on the right. The automatics do get a set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. They're finished off in plastic. They have a nice look and feel to them. We also have your turn signal stock to the left, and then over on the right we have all your windshield wiper controls. On the left side of the steering wheel itself we have your trunk button, and then a little bit of storage that will come up. Then we have a cool aluminum design for this trim piece with all of your headlight controls, one of your air vents, then some black vinyl running across the dashboard in that iconic double bubble design. I really love how they've done that, dating back to the old school Mustangs. We get Mustang over on the right, and then more of this cool texture design. It is plastic, but it does have a really cool look. All of your air vents are in the center, and then moving to the navigation screen right here in the center for your Sync 3. We have audio that comes up. All of your climate controls will come up as well. Very easy to adjust everything with all the different zones. We have dual zone climate. We have your phone integration, all of the apps, and then your settings. You can scroll over to see a few more things. And then if I go ahead and put this into reverse, your standard backup camera comes up, along with the parking sensors to the right, and then going back into park. We also have controls down here for all of the radio. You can see the on-off button, volume on the left, and then physical climate controls down below. You can toggle this up and down for your dual zone temperature. It comes up on the screen, and the fan speed will do the same thing. So pretty cool to see how that all works. Down below, we can see your start stop button. You have a toggle for your hazards and traction control. Then we have 2 different drive modes. Toggling this one, you get your steering feel. We have a normal, sport, and a comfort. And then your drive mode goes from normal, sport, track. We have a drag racing mode as well, and then into a snow and wet mode. And then taking a look at the shifter now, you can see more of the aluminum colored accents, the black leather, manual park and brake, and then 2 cup holders to the right, black leather along the center, and then a nice amount of space in here with a USB and 12 volt. And then on the right side, we can open up this for your glove box, and you have a pretty good amount of space in there. One last look at the interior. I think Ford does a good job just making this a nice clean interior. Nothing crazy fancy, but it certainly comes together very well. The Mustang is also a 4-seater. There's a handle on the back of the seat. We can lift the driver's seat out of the way, it'll fold forward a little bit. And then back here we get the same fabric along the seats, nice looking buckets back here with all the stitching and everything. And then sitting now in the backseat of a Ford Mustang, it is decently spacious back here. My head doesn't quite fit all the way. I'm a 5'11". Driver's seat I can pull back, and I have it set at my height, and my knees are just barely touching. So it is workable in a pinch if you need to put people back here. Not really any amenities back here, but nonetheless it is pretty usable. All right, so we are now sitting in the Mustang GT. So this car has all season tires on it. And a really cool thing with this, of course, it's rear wheel drive. We have a lot of power. You know, with traction control off, if I go ahead and just leave in the sport mode and the manual, this is a car you can have a lot of fun with, giving it some gas. I mean, you can drift it pretty easily. However, when you turn traction control back on and just do normal drive and everything, these tires are actually really capable. They are Pirellis, and driving around on this ice and everything, I can actually confidently drive this rear wheel drive car without really spinning out. So while Mustangs kind of get a bad rap for spinning out a lot, if you actually drive it responsibly, you know, with the right tires and everything, I'm on ice right now. I'm spinning a little bit, but nonetheless, this is a super controllable car when properly equipped. So let's get out onto the main road and see what a Mustang is like driving on the actual pavement. So out of the snow, these are pretty comfortable. You can honestly daily drive a car like this. You know, the seats and everything, you can get them into a really comfortable position. You have all the lumbar support and everything like that. So a really good car just to be in, just drive. You know, this is a good daily. And then of course with the performance aspects, you can have all the fun. And we're just in normal exhaust mode right now. This thing sounds so good. So we'll get out on the main street. Man. So the 10-speed automatic, it certainly does shift quite a lot. You can hear it change the gears a lot, but it's really smooth, really efficient. You know, if you're gonna be drag racing, this car is gonna beat the manual transmission just because the gear ratios and the shift time is so quick. But now comfortably driving around 45 miles an hour. Headrest is really good. Steering wheel fit and finish feels really nice. I like the leather. Armrests are in a pretty good place too. And then overall visibility, you have a really good windshield. You can see the whole hood. Mirrors all do a good job. And then looking over my right and left shoulder, really not too many blind spots. The C-pillar honestly is not that big at all. This is a pretty good visibility car. It's a sloping back end, that fastback, and yet you can drive it like a normal car. So with that said, let's play with some drive modes. We'll go into the sport mode and keep it in manual mode. Not really a dedicated manual mode, so hopefully it doesn't time out on me. But we'll go to the drive mode. We'll go into the track mode. It tells you for track use only, of course. And then steering, we'll keep that into the sport mode. I guess it automatically does that as well. So we're in all the fun modes now. It should automatically do the exhaust. A lot of gears to downshift. Kind of slow, I would say, to respond for the paddle shifters. If you're buying this in an automatic, you're probably not really going to use those too much. So yeah, I'm really not the biggest fan of the 10-speed automatic. It's not a performance-oriented transmission for like mountain driving and things like that. So it's kind of slow to shift. The response is not that good. Same with downshifting. But nonetheless, you know, this thing, if you are really on it, it's going to shift super quickly from the actual engagement of the transmission. So just the paddle shifters themselves, that's where the delay is. But we have a nice little road we'll turn on and feel it out a little bit more. I do love the sound of that 5.0. You cannot go wrong with the V8 in this car. Yeah, so the torque converter automatic, not really my cup of tea for a car like this. We'll stick it in automatic mode, let it do its thing. But when we are on some turns now, it's a pretty stable car for kind of weighing a little bit more than maybe a smaller sports car would weigh. It really does handle its weight pretty well, and being independent suspension, you know, I don't really see any complaints there. It's pretty fun to drive. Wow, in track mode, it gets much more aggressive for the drivetrain. So that is cool how it has those modes to do that. We'll go back into normal mode. The steering is pretty nice and tight when you're in the track mode, and then it softens up quite a bit. If I go into the comfort mode now, it is much lighter, and wow, that is way different. So I like how with a Mustang GT especially, you get the power plant. This is a pretty quick car, not the fastest thing out there. You know, the Shelby of course is gonna get you in speed if you really want performance and power, but it's a smooth power delivery, very clean, the way everything just revs up to redline, and it really gives you a good all-around performance car. So we're all back into normal, get up back to some speed. All right, so moving over to POV now. Got a nice sharp turn. Everything is in the track mode. When you're on it, that's when the transmission does respond pretty quickly, but if you're just slowly accelerating, and now it shifted. That was like a 5-second delay. So normal driving in manual mode is not at all recommended for this car. And then downshifting, and now it shifted. Now it shifted. So much quicker, of course, once you're on it. But overall, a nice power plant. Pretty smooth as well. Not really any road noise or wind noise in this car. It really is just a good all-around vehicle. If you want a blend of fun and performance, usability, because it's actually pretty comfortable to sit here. The back seats, while they're not the best for a full-grown adult, they are absolutely usable. Trunk space itself is pretty large as well. And then overall visibility, like I said, you really cannot complain. As far as the interior fit and finish, pretty much everything is made out of plastic, so there's nothing fancy about the interior. I mean, all of this that looks like aluminum is just plastic, but it does look very nice. I really don't have any complaints with the way it looks or the way it feels, honestly. The plastics are high quality, I would say, so I like how they've at least given it good materials. And for, you know, 40 to 50 grand for a GT, you know, you expect to have a nice interior, and I don't really have a complaint, especially when you compare it to the competition. I think this is a much higher quality interior than a Camaro and a Challenger. So Mustang does do a good job with that. So I think that is then it for the Mustang GT. We've got a nice snowy background for today, which is a pretty rare sighting for us. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content to come, and then a big shout out and thank you to Mooresville Ford for providing this car for today's video. Check them out as well. So anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.